Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of Rise Up the Podcast. Fellas, it's great to see you. We have an action-packed episode in for you guys today. We got Josh Byrne with an awesome interview, PLL, NLL superstar. We got some news and updates in the PLL world and the college lacrosse world. But before we get into that, let me just shout out our sponsors real quick. Rowback, I'm rocking the polo right now. I wore it to the office today. Had a grind of a day, fellas, but I'm still feeling comfortable in this Rowback polo. Make sure you get your own Rowback gear. Use promo code RISEUP20. Scotty's rocking that fresh hoodie. That thing is so soft. How about that, Scotty?
I love it. I love it.
It's the best.
Dude, it's so soft looking. I feel comfortable.
It's the best.
Nice.
And we have a very, very special announcement. We have a new sponsor for the new year. It is Hot Shot. A little bit about Hot Shot. They are sports shots, 1.7 ounces, scientifically proven sports shots that harness the power of heat and other natural ingredients to provide nerve-based solutions that help prevent and treat muscle cramps and reduce muscle fatigue. Scotty just chugged one right there. I guarantee you will not cramp in the near future. Fellas, I am a huge proponent of these. My dad, Petey Seibel, he's going to be listening. He's going to love the shout out. Scotty, I don't know if I told you this. My dad played goalie at Springfield College back in the day, back in the 80s. So he's a junkyard dog. From? No, Springfield, Mass. The Chief Dogs.
Dude, Scotty, have you seen his dad?
He's shredded.
Shredded like a piece of lettuce.
He's 59 years old. This past fall, he ran his 20-something marathon. He ran the New York City Marathon, and he swears by these Hot Shots. And, you know, Scotty, he went when Scotty retired, he started pumping the weights. My dad went to marathon running. So, but he loves them. He swears by them. I use them as well. They're great. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about these as well.
Yeah, I'm doing 10x3s right now, so it's all power development. But once we're into the get shredded for the summer, the volume's going to go up, Scotty. Those sets are going to get
high reps.
I'm telling you right now, Scotty, how spicy was that when you drank that?
It was a little uncomfortable.
So,
but it works.
The reason why it's so spicy is because the original chocolates for muscle cramps.
Spicy food.
So, but the reason why it's so spicy, it's developed. They use their own research, which they prove that muscle cramps are not from muscular problems, but a neurological one. And the spiciness prevents the muscles to cramp neurologically. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So, fellas, now that we got those ad reads out of the way, tell me a little bit about your past weekend. We had some great NFL football. What's up, guys? Greg, start with you.
Well, I'm going to dive into some of my old kinesiology textbooks now because you've kind of put my neuroanatomy classes on their head with the muscle cramping stuff. Take a look at these sodium potassium pumps, see if they're still worthless. But my weekend was great, man. I celebrated my oldest son's 6th birthday, Jack's. His birthday is December 29. But we had his birthday right before kids went back to school so people could come. We had it at A-Game Sports. Absolutely loved soccer. So they played soccer. They had pizza. It was a really good time. So, yeah, it was a good weekend at home with the fam. How about you, Scotty?
I've just been traveling, man. I'm doing these camps in Florida. I've been in Florida the last 2 weeks. I'll be in Florida this weekend, and then I'm in Orlando to finish it off this month.
Tough life.
It's a lot of Florida.
It's what the life we lead.
Why aren't you tan? Why aren't you more tan?
Life chose us.
Because it was actually 45 degrees in Florida. It's tough.
Scotty,
I will be putting together a tour.
I
will be hitting one state a month starting in March. And that will be in hotter areas.
Nice.
Is
Vegas one of them?
I think there's a demand for FOA in Vegas, Scotty.
Nice.
I also think there's a demand in Scottsdale.
I can't go to any of those.
And South Beach.
The Giants won, if we saw.
Giants won.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Money line, and they were +3.
Ooh.
Double ka-chin.
And they got the Eagles, but you're not an Eagles fan. You're a Ravens fan.
Not an Eagles fan.
Oh, tough loss for the Ravens.
My father-in-law is a season holder for the Giants, and he is ecstatic right now.
It's fucking awesome.
So, hey, great time to be a Giants fan.
Danny Dimes.
So I'm happy for them.
I'll tell you what, watching the football this weekend has been the least stressful it's ever been. I've enjoyed every game. They're all great games. Pat's being out, I'm not used to it, but I was able to kind of sit back, stress free.
Let me ask you guys a question. I am not a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form. But watching the Buffalo Bills game, when they were 13.5-point favorites, and they scored 2 touchdowns in what seemed like 6 plays because it was a joke for them. And then suddenly that entire organization forgot how to play football for like an entire quarter and a half. And then didn't cover. But one, is the NFL rigged? I'm just going to ask the question. I'm not insinuating.
The Chargers and Jags was way worse. That was insane. That's the biggest collapse ever.
Dude. Hey, you know what? That's another good point.
They were down. It was 31-0.
27. Insane. That was. I couldn't believe it.
Should we start calling it the National Football Federation?
It's rigged.
Are these games predetermined at all?
Hot take.
I'm asking. I'm not insinuating at all.
I think
I loved the response from a whole bunch of NARPs who don't follow me but obsess over every one of my tweets about that when I said it.
We are very happy to welcome a special guest to this week's podcast, Josh Byrne, member of the Chaos and the Buffalo Bandits. Josh, thanks for taking the time jumping on. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I just saw on my Instagram account earlier this week the most preposterous goal you scored in sixes. It was the most offensive shit I've ever seen. Besides, you see this?
I did.
Byrne takes off. Yeah, he takes off from like the free throw line and goes around his own body. Like while the goalie's right in his face, like, see you, bitch. And he just goes one-handed.
I feel like sixes isn't fair for Josh, though.
Dude, you guys must have been laughing. Canadians must have been laughing their asses off when sixes came out, man. Tell me about it. Tell me what it's like playing sixes as a Canadian, dude.
Dude, it was insane. And to be honest with you, like, it's pretty much like box lacrosse on a field. So it was like, so you're telling me we're going to play a bunch of guys with no long poles on the field and just do whatever we want? And shot clock too. Like, let's go. Game on.
Dude, unbelievable, man. So give us the rundown. How's the indoor season going along?
Yeah, we started off a little bit cold. Started off 0-1 against Albany. They kind of took us by surprise a little bit. They've got a good young team and kind of some new faces. Kieran McCardle, Connor Kelly going over there, and they're actually having really good seasons. And I think guys, man, they're doing really well. And I think some guys really just like took them lightly. Us being one of them, and they kind of punch us in the mouth a little bit. But after that, we've kind of been on a run here lately. I think we're 4 straight and going into a battle against Rochester this weekend for top spot in the East. So it's going well.
Dude, I feel like chemistry is like a huge part of that team. Like you guys all hang out, right? Who lives up there right now?
So in Buffalo, I mean, for I want to say a good 3 years, there's probably about 6 of us that all lived together, like in the same house, which was kind of interesting when you think about, a bunch of guys out of college, but it pretty much felt like college because, but no school. So it's like, it's one of those things where it was really easy for us to kind of work off each other. And I think it's a huge thing, right? Because, guys that play in both leagues, especially, a lot of times that chemistry takes a little while to pick up, but we're able to play kind of year round together, which I think gives us a bit of an advantage for sure.
Totally. And admittedly so, we've talked about on this podcast, we're not the most knowledgeable about the box game. But obviously you guys are having another great season. You guys came up a little bit short last year. Tell us some more themes about this year in the league. Like, there's a new team in Vegas. What are some other things that maybe the casual fan should tune into and get more into the NLL? Like, what are some big themes this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's kind of crazy, and I'm kind of the last guy to really speak on this, but I feel like there's been just kind of a bit of an old school flair to the game again. Like, I don't know, there's a clip going around with one of my guys, Brad McCulley, landing a big right hand and kind of squaring up and dropping the gloves. So And I know there's a couple guys out in Vegas too who've been throwing hands and really just kind of squaring up. And it's funny to watch people in the Instagram comments under the posts, and people are like, "This is not okay. If this was basketball, this would never fly. You guys are pumping this up." It's like, man, this is like part of our game that's gone back so long. And listen, like I'm the last guy that's going to be jumping out there and letting my hands fly. But no, it's part of the game. I think it teaches guys, respect and a bit of a code for the game as well. So that I think is kind of a bigger thing. I think this year, I don't know, for whatever reason, I've seen a lot more fights this year.
Yeah,
dude, I actually saw that guy on Vegas too, who just retired from playing minor league hockey and just potted his first goal in the NLL. That's awesome. What was that guy's name?
Dude, Emerson Clark, man, this guy,
what a legend, an
absolute beast. So, quick story: when I was 2013, there's actually a video going around right now. I was in a Minto Cup, which is pretty much the national title for junior lacrosse, and he was coming from Whitby, Ontario. Their team came into our barn, and this guy's like, he's smaller, right? He's like probably like 5'8", 5'9". We've got this big dude. He's like 6'4", 240, and just an absolute knee stick. And they ended up fighting, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna kill this kid. And like, dude, this Emerson Clark kid like feeds him a couple times, and it was a good fight both ways. But later on in the game, this guy gets another penalty, comes out of the box, catches it on a breakaway, and then goes behind his back and goes and puts it in the top corner. I'm like, who is this kid? He's fighting this dude that's 6'4", and then just buries him behind the back, goes on a breakaway. I'm like, what's going on?
I looked up his hockey elite prospect and saw how many penalty minutes he had in hockey. I was like, oh my God, this guy's a fighter. I could already tell.
Holy shit.
He's an absolute animal.
Dude, I used to say this all the time in the MLL, where you would have quote unquote tough guys in the MLL they'd be tough guys because they just talked so much shit.
Right.
But you were just like, I was like, come on, man, just like allow fighting in the MLL and watch how quickly people shut up.
Won't fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's an expectation. If you're going to open your mouth in indoor, you either have to be able to back it up or someone's got to save your ass.
Yeah.
The MLL, guys would just run their mouths until you cross-check them and then you get a penalty. And it was
but I think Josh like knows that in the PLL. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to fight me in the middle of the game? You can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, like Jeff Snyder, legend.
Yeah.
Right? Jeff and I used to gum each other all the time in the ML, but I was like, Jeff, what are you going to do? You going to lacrosse fight me right now?
Greg, he got 10 minutes of penalties my first game.
Yeah.
Like, that guy was fucking nuts.
That's why you can't fight in the MLL. But that's what I was always saying. Like, guys, it's a completely different sport.
Yeah.
So you had different people talking shit in these sports, and it was pretty interesting. Like, could you imagine Brian Spallina talking the way he talked in the MLL, talking in an indoor? No. I mean, we would all be talking about, hey, remember Brian Spallina, man? I was at his funeral.
Josh, isn't Kieran McArdle actually pretty tough indoor?
Oh,
dude, you know what? It was funny because like it's kind of that, like, I don't know if it's an unspoken rule, but it's like this thing that like when a lot of American guys come over into the box game, like, they're not really used to that whole side of things. Yeah. And Kieran was the guy who actually just started like dropping his gloves. And everyone was like, kind of shocked. But it was kind of like a sink or swim thing. It was like, man, like you and he answered the bell a couple times, and so like he's done well, and he's got some respect. I think Bertrand is another guy who.
Here's our guy.
It was kind of crazy. Like he kept just like asking guys to fight on our team, and like they're coming to me and they're like, this guy? I'm like, yeah, he plays field. Like, I don't know. He went to Virginia. Like, I don't know how tough this kid is. Like, I have no idea, man. Like,
everyone's like, no, you go first. You go first.
but he's a monster, right? Like he's again 6'4" kid. And I think he actually fought a pretty tough dude in the league and like did pretty well. So like it's cool to see you guys like kind of jumping in. You're not going to see me doing that.
You don't have to.
Those guys are fun.
Man. Well, let's talk a little bit of PLL. So like last season, actually the last few seasons, you guys just keep doing your thing. You don't give a shit. Regular season, you're like, we're still putting the pieces together. What's kind of the key to the chaos thing? Like, what's the key to that team? How do you what gives you guys such a unique feel, other than obviously your leader Andy Towers? But like, give us some insight there.
Man, it's really just the culture of the team, and a lot of that is set by Towers, right? Like, he's extremely transparent. He's honest. He's real. He's not going to sugarcoat things, and he expects the same out of us. And for us to be honest and real with him. So, like, there's some times where you have these tough conversations with each other that, and sometimes as a player, you don't want to hear certain things, but sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need a little kick in the ass to get you going, and a little shot of transparency, I would say. And vice versa, right? So, like, there's times where it's like, well, this is what we see is happening, and you have these conversations, and I think the key to it is just being honest with each other, and there's no like you get frustrated with someone. 'Cause I think you see that in different teams. Like, there's a lot of like hidden kind of jibber jabber going on.
Yeah.
People are like a little bit frustrated with the way someone's doing stuff.
I would pay to see Jerry Raganese and Andy Towers in the locker room together. Holy shit.
Dude, I can't. And man, when he did the whole the grandpa or whatever, the fake the injury, and he was and then actually hurt himself. Bro. But yeah, like, honestly though, that he looks for good character guys that are gonna fit well into a locker room, and he truly believes that at the end of the day, this league is so talented that it's just the next man up. If you're a bit of a me guy or anything like that, he's just going to get rid of you, and he's going to come in. He's going to bring someone in that's, about the team. It's that simple.
It's very Belichick mentality.
Yeah.
Which obviously wins.
Yeah.
Josh, I got a question for you. So as someone who's, cemented themselves as a star in both the PLL and the NLL, what would you like to see from both leagues to make guys like yourself who play in both, to make it more cohesive in terms of the seasons?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble here.
No, I think Withers already did that. Withers went off.
God.
I didn't even hear what he said. I don't even know if I want to know. But no, it's one of the things where it's like, where we all have the common goal as lacrosse players, as past lacrosse players, fans of the game, and that's that we want to see lacrosse become as big as possible, right? We want to see it become that NFL level of sport, and the only way that's going to really happen is if the leagues start to work together. And I know that there's conversations being had on both sides, and I do think that both leagues want the best for the players as well. It's just it's extremely tough when they both have to worry about their own business models, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
Josh, I mean, Buffalo has, like, where you play, it's a packed stadium every week, right? I mean, it's,
man, like, I think like we had like 15,000, and it was on like a Saturday night when there was a Bills game the next day, a playoff Bills game. So like 14,000 when people are trying to rest up for the Bills game. You know how those Bills tailgates go.
dude, it's pretty serious. Yeah.
But no, man, like, exactly. We do extremely well. So it's tough, and especially it really ends up hurting the teams that have the most box players, especially in the PLL. You saw it last year with us. I think we started 0-3 without us. Without, I think, the main four. I think we had 4 or 5 of us that were still playing for the Bandits, maybe even 6. But and then you have maybe a week of break. Yeah. And especially last year, the way that we lost in the NLL against Colorado was just emotionally, physically, just so draining that, like, now all of a sudden you have to flip the switch and go and play in a regular season game in the PLL. You're just like, I don't know how I can mentally get myself to be there. But obviously, like, you need to do your best as a pro and understand that, like, you need to be able to flip that switch. especially for your boys and your teammates and everyone a part of that team. So yeah, man, it's extremely tough, and especially when you just keep going to championships, man. You're just like, your body just feels like it's just I'm 28 years old, man, but I feel like I'm 75.
You're playing a full year. Yeah.
Yeah. I always said that. I actually talk to Trevor Baptiste every week, obviously, and I remember talking to him last summer where he was like, man, I don't feel like I've stopped playing lacrosse since I was like 12 years old. Yeah. And it's just crazy because he came right out of college, played played in World Games, which we're going to get to in a second, and then immediately was drafted, and it was cyclical, indoor, outdoor, indoor, outdoor. I almost wish I had two like lives that I could live so that I could play indoor, because I just can't understand how you guys were able to do both. Like, I gave it a shot, and I was like, there's no way.
Well, that's why you go to Miami, Josh.
Yeah. You know? That's exactly why we go to Miami. You need a little break from reality.
Yeah. Step up into 11, you're gonna lose track of reality real quick.
Yeah. That's a dangerous place to be, let me tell you.
If you go Blaze, yeah.
Ask Klutz about 11. He's got some good stories about 11.
Well, I'll keep it clean. I heard Klutz was using like a net to catch dollar bills out of the pool.
Hey, can you take these?
Amazing. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So let's touch on before we go completely down this rabbit hole. Let's touch on Worlds this summer. How you guys feeling about it? It's in what is it, San Diego or LA? Which?
San Diego, right?
I think it's San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I haven't really had time to even think about it. You know, obviously, I feel like Team USA is always a couple of steps ahead when it comes to actually figuring out their roster. And, you know, they've had probably feels like every time I talk to Blaze or Rowlett, they're having a tryout. So I feel like they've had like 8 tryouts.
Well, that process has definitely changed after you guys got us in 2014. The process changed drastically. Well, Don't worry about it, because no matter what, it happens every 4 years. They announce the Team USA roster, and then American lacrosse Twitter just eats each other's faces for 6 months, and then you guys put out whatever roster you want, and everyone's like, "Oh man, they're loaded, they're sick, perfect. That's the perfect team. They look great." Right?
Yeah, it's the culture, man. The Canadians they just get fired up for everything and everyone. You know what I mean? The Americans are just like, "Oh, that guy's trash, bro. How is he going to beat?" Just coming each other, man. It's crazy. I don't know.
No, man, that's gonna be sick. I'm furiously jealous of that,
dude. It is so wild, man. Like, I think I was talking with Dane the other day, just like going through, you know, who they have, and it's like, all right, so Blaze Net potentially, you know, I think it's like JT, Giles Harris, like Rowlett, Matt Dunn,
Durkin.
I'm like, well, maybe we can win some short stick battles, and it's like, Tarafanko, Logan. I'm like,
man, these guys thought of everything. God damn it.
Yeah.
Like,
and then, Josh, they got fucking Amplo as the coach.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe we throw bouncers. Let's just throw bouncers and hope for the best.
I want to see Towers come out and coach the Canadian team in San Diego. How about that? I feel like you guys have just accepted him as one of your own.
It's Brownie.
Who is the coach?
Isn't Brownie?
Yeah. Matt Brown. I'm blanking.
I'm assuming Junior's going to be there too, right?
And the coach from St. Joe's, right?
Yeah. I think it's Taylor Ray.
Yeah.
Taylor Ray.
Yeah. And then is it Marichek? I believe Marichek.
Wow.
Man, there's some legends. Like it's pretty wild.
Dude, if you could think about the guys that could be on that sideline, and half the American team would just be in awe. Like, you just have Gary and Paul standing over there. You have Marichek, Junior. Dude, all of those guys could jump in and drop a hattie right now.
Easily. Like it's not even funny. Yeah, Junior. I honestly, I was surprised at Sixers that Junior didn't suit up. I thought he was just waiting for the championship game just to jump on the offensive end and just let him body up and throw reverse.
Well,
just ass dodge everyone.
Yo, Sides asked last week, who do we think would come back sooner, Paul or Junior? I was like, Rabel's not suiting back up. I could see Junior playing with the Redwoods this summer, be like, fuck it. Let me just show you how to do this offense and just stick.
Rabel's suiting back up. Rabel's suiting back up. I'm telling you.
Man,
is that a hot take?
I could see it, man. The guy's just a specimen. If there's a guy that physically would be able to do it, it's him, man.
In his suit pants too.
Yeah.
In his suit pants.
100%, dude. If Junior tried to jump back in on that league, he would still pop 5, but he wouldn't move from a 10-foot
dude.
pop.
I was his goalie when he scored 11 on Drew Adams, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? 11 goals?
Yeah, dude, he's disgusting.
And Mark Hockerton took the seat on that one, and I was like, Mark averages 4 goals a game on his own.
Yeah,
fuck.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Wow,
it's pretty crazy. So Josh, outside of the indoor-outdoor thing, are you running clinics? Do you give us a little breakdown of what other stuff that you're doing out there in the lacrosse community?
Yeah, so right now I do a bunch of privates kind of on the side. I've been looking at really trying to dive into that side of the lacrosse business. We're kind of starting to ramp up slowly. Buffalo is it's a different kind of market. You have to kind of tread a little bit differently here. Where if I was on Long Island, I could be charging $175 an hour and just raking in cake, right? It's different, right? But what Dane and I are really trying to dial in right now is a program called Beast Lacrosse, which is it's a box lacrosse program out here in Buffalo. We've done it the last 2 years, and it's been more of a grassroots thing. And this year we're looking to take the step and become more of an elite level travel team, and try to kind of recruit all the way across Western New York. And
is that kind of like Junior? Like Junior does with that? What's that? The Junior? He does some box thing here. Yeah. I think it's in Baltimore. He does.
Is it Elevate? I can't remember what.
It's like Thunder something.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if
it's called Elevation Thunder something.
It's just it's him and Jordan Hall. They fucking crush it.
Yeah, exactly. So very, very similar. It's just, man, it's so crazy because the sport is growing so fast, and with that, the coaching isn't necessarily there, and it's a bunch of dads who really they're kind of like the last resort, and they're like, well, someone needs to coach these kids. I guess I'll do it. And they're just, it's no knock on them. I respect them because they're just volunteering their time. But at the same time, man, these guys have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just not teaching them the right thing. So, it's especially in Buffalo, there's some unreal athletes and just some really legit talent coming out of here. Obviously Connor Fields is a guy that came in. I think it's DeMillo was another kid that went to Maryland. But there's kids there's 2 or 3 kids that I work with right now. One's 11, one's 15. Another kid actually just committed to Marquette. This kid Noah Snyder, who's an absolute baller. But they're having to go other places. They're having to go into Rochester. They're driving an hour literally twice a week to go and get legitimate coaching, and it's tough. So Dane and I really want to try to come in and really just change the way that things have been running here in Buffalo. And we partnered up with this guy. His name's Scott Moore. He's just a really good dude. Played lacrosse, but just really, there's some guys that just you can tell want to grow the game for the right reasons. Not in it to make money. They just really care about the sport, and he's one of those guys, and that's why Dane and I decided to partner up with him and create Beast Lacrosse. So watch out, man. Within the next couple of years, the boys are going to be running down, coming down.
I don't get some Beast lacrosse gear. I am going to lose my mind.
Just use Greg's mug as your logo.
Scare the children? Perfect. No, man, no. Good luck with that. And you know, I like, you were talking about that guy, Scott. Like, what I've learned, you know, FOA has been around, 10 years now, is I always approach relationships first. The money stuff, like, it'll come. But if I don't trust implicitly the character of the person that I'm talking to, then there's no use in even having a second phone call. So it's good that you get a good vibe from him.
Dude, it's huge. It's one of those things. And I feel like that's with anything in business. It's like you can just kind of feel out those guys. It's like some guys you can just tell they're just in it for the wrong reason.
Yeah, they're slippery.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're kind of snakish. You're like, I don't really know if I'm. And I'm someone who keeps my guard up until I gain someone's trust. And so no, with him, he's been awesome. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Besides that, it's I'm trying to start to really get into like the real estate game. You know, it's a bit tough with the market being where it's at right now. But again, Buffalo's a bit of a different kind of market, man. It's kind of an underground market. It's
a good time.
Yeah,
sell some spots in Buffalo while Josh Allen's still young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly, man. So no, it's good.
Well, that's good, man. Well, hey, good luck with all that stuff, dude. Especially Beast Lacrosse. That's my new favorite youth box program now.
I got you. We'll have to get you some merch out for sure, a hoodie or something. Send you your way.
You better give him all the merch so he doesn't sue you.
I just texted my lawyer while he was talking. I was like, hey, hear about this shit?
Josh.
Oh, man, that's good. Well, hey, Josh.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. Scotty, Greg, any last questions for Josh before we let him go?
No, man.
Let him go. He was awesome.
All right, Josh,
we grilled the shit
this
out
was a
of him.
pleasure, man. Fun interview. We're so pumped to have you on, and good luck in the rest of the NLL season. We're rooting for the Bandits.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Big fan.
Fellas, we got some news coming out of the PLL. The schedule has officially been announced for the Sixes tournament. I'm super pumped about this just because get some lacrosse on the weeknights. You know, normally watching the PLL, watching college, it's the weekends. You kind of got to plan your weekend around it if you're going to tune in. On weeknights, man, I'm going to have my feet kicked up on the couch, watch some lacrosse. I'm pumped.
Yeah. What's the date again? Just so people at home know.
February. Give me 2 seconds.
20th, right?
February 22nd, 23rd, 24th. 2 games per day. Semifinals the 25th, championship on the 26th.
Dude, this is brilliant by the PLL because this is right after the NFL season ends and right before March Madness. That sweet spot. February, for the most part, most sports, you know, people like who are kind of like twiddling our thumbs. We're like, this sucks. But I mean, that's perfect. And it's something to watch. Like you said, weekday, brilliant.
It's the best. I tell you what, when the PLL did the bubble in Utah and the games were during the week, it was fantastic. And I think that was the first year you could gamble on it as well with DraftKings. And it was
because I was doing a little draft show.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a betting show for them. Yeah.
The model where they're able to do it during the week, I know it doesn't work out in the summer because, you know, PL is just not there yet, unfortunately. But having it during the weeknights it's going to be awesome for viewership, and it's going to be awesome for Sixes. I know we've had our opinions on the Sixes format, and just to give everyone out there a refresher of what Sixes is, it's a 6-on-6 game. We played with 12-person rosters only. All players carry short sticks, and they go all over the field. It's a shorter field. There's no backups on shots. The shot clock's even shorter with 30 seconds. And after goals, the goalies pick it up out of the net and just go the other way. So it is a different brand of lacrosse than a lot of people are used to watching. And it'll be interesting to see for a lot of these fans out there.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's basketball.
It's basketball.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Is there any players?
I think Sixes is – I love the fact that it's lacrosse in a completely different format that's easy to digest. I think it's great. And that's what's something I just love about our sport. I think have some people are like, we need to have rules at every single level. It's like, beat it, dude. Like, I love the fact that we have international rules, we have PLL rules, we have indoor rules, we have box has like 6 different types of rules depending on which box.
College rules.
Yeah. Yeah. And now there's 6s. And it's like, dude, there's a type of lacrosse for pretty much everybody, which is so cool.
I'll ask you guys a question. Did you guys like I get not to date you guys, you played in a little different era for college rules, but I guess now where the college game has gone with the, I think, 80-second shot clock, do you like the college version of the game better or the PLL version? Or 6s, but I don't think that's the answer.
PLL lacrosse is the best version. The PLL rules are the best version of outdoor lacrosse.
I agree.
Completely, without any exception.
I mean,
Sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
I said I played without a shot clock. We almost stayed in that Natty Champ game. We held the ball.
I know.
Yeah. Everybody
for 2 minutes.
Well, so when I was in college,
that's how Maryland used to win their old school championships.
And Denver. That's how Denver won. They'd have Trevor win the face-off, and they'd go down and they'd have 3-4 minute possessions, and then they'd pot one. Because I played in college when it was the transition. When they had the ref's discretion, I think that was my sophomore or junior year, when the ref could throw the timer on. And my senior year was still that. And my first year out of college was the first year they did full on shot clocks, which I love as a college fan. I think it's definitely moving the game in a better direction.
I'm going to say something that's going to ruffle some feathers, but who gives a shit? So I have this discussion from a political standpoint all the time with my in-laws. And I was kind of, look, to be honest with you guys, when your generation's gone, we can finally get some stuff done. With this whole rules committee thing, I think the same thing when it comes to NCAA. Like, you watch the women's game, they're like, man, that national championship game would be better if we had a shot clock. 40 seconds later, shot clock, done. The men's league, we got to go to IMLCA. We all got to puff up our chests. The loudest guy in the room's got to scream and filibuster for a while, and nothing gets done. Eventually, we got that 80-second shot clock. I love it. I think it's perfect. I love the fact that they start it with possession. Then you have a certain amount of time to get over. Mm-hmm. Great. I think 80 seconds in college is great. The next move, 2-point arc.
Yeah.
That will happen, but it won't happen until the old headers are gone. All the old heads have to go.
I agree.
Which is a great.
Scotty, if you had a 2-point arc in college, where would you put? How far out would you put it?
16.
16. So you would actually put it farther than PLL.
Yeah. 14. 14
is a hard shot, dude.
I know it is, but I think that would just make it. I think the PLL should move it in too. Make it more like a 3-pointer in basketball. How many 2-pointers were scored this year? How many 2-pointers were scored this year? Not that the person who led the league in 2-pointers had like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, the reason I say 2-pointer is because with the shot clock, the natural progression was you see more zone defense. So in order to bust a zone, you got to move the ball really fast. But if you can gun it from the outside and you have shooters who can shoot, you're going to start seeing guys that are becoming more that are like shooting specialists, that are long range threats. Those are going to be zone busters.
Do you remember that Chesapeake Bayhawks team with like Kyle Dixon and all those guys?
Dude, I still to this day have nightmares of watching Kyle Dixon.
Dude, they shot 32.
Quite honestly, the world doesn't talk enough about how good he was. But Kyle Dixon walked right up to his defender and ripped his stick right across the dude's midsection.
Yeah.
And the ball would hook around the dude's hip and just penetrate the corner of the net. And every goalie was like, this is some bullshit.
And those NLL balls
do the same shit.
Those NLL balls would move.
Dude, because that's when grippy balls, they used to be really grippy.
They used to turn into ovals.
Dude, they would knuckle like crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, Dixon was a whole different type of monster.
I know.
But no, the 6s for the PLL, it's going to be great to watch. I'm excited for it. Greg, you mentioned some of the old heads. One of the most legendary old heads announced earlier last week that this will be his final season coaching college lacrosse, and that's Bill Tierney. legendary coach at Princeton, legendary coach at Denver, took his talents out west and won the first national championship for Division I lacrosse west of the Mississippi. I mean, this guy's meant so much for the sport of lacrosse, and just hats off. Congratulations on an unbelievable career.
Bill Tierney is the greatest coach of all time, in my opinion.
I agree.
In the men's game. And I have been so lucky to get to know him on a personal level over the years because, once they got Trevor, through Trevor, just all those years of getting to know him, and man, like what a special person. Just what he does. I mean, think about not just how many young men that he's coached over the years, but he's one of those guys too who changes with the times. That's what's so damn impressive about him.
Yeah.
He actually was just quoted not too long ago talking about how if you want to be a great coach, you don't just take a kid, recruit him, and then shove him into your system. You have to be malleable and you have to change with the guys you have. And some people might be sitting at home going, duh. And I'm actually impressed with you people that would say that because there's a lot of people who don't get that. And to have a legend like that who has been great his entire time that he's been a head coach, to be able to change like that, he left an incredible legendary program that he helped turn into an absolute national juggernaut and then went out to the West. And I mean, he took the reins from Monroe and he just created another monster.
A monster.
And Denver is now an elite program year in and out. And here's the other thing is he has groomed Brownie. And Brown is going to come like every year. People are like, I can't believe Brown's not a head coach. I'm like, I can because he knows.
He's waiting his turn.
Oh, dude, that Canadian pipeline, forget it.
Yeah.
Nothing will change. It'll be a machine that keeps on going. I love Bill Tierney on and off the field. I think he's a phenomenal human being, and I'm very grateful for everything he's done for our sport for sure.
I mean, he's the only coach that when we played them, I was like scared to shake his hand. He's like an icon, dude. So and then him and Coach Corrigan, when we played them, and when he was at Denver, he would literally, the two of them are the most intense older coaches I've ever seen. So Bill would kick a cone and yell at the refs. Coach Corrigan would then kick a cone, yell at the refs. And now they're seeing who's kicking the fucking cone farther. I'm like, these guys are nuts, bro.
Dude, you want to talk about two dudes that I absolutely love, man? Yeah. Corrigan.
Yeah. I've never seen someone work the refs harder than Bill Tierney. I mean, playing against him for 4 years, I'd probably do some scummy shit down at the attack end, and he would be like in the ref's ear, yelling at me, yelling at the ref. Why didn't you see that? And I was, like you said, Scotty, terrified of him. But
Bill's used as a barometer for how much you're yelling at the ref in an MLL game. I've literally, and this is a dead ass, okay? I've had a few different refs over the years. I was like, if I had a moment and I would scream at a ref, I'd always come out for the ensuing face-off and just be like, hey, I'm sorry about that. My bad. I got into, like Doug, who used to do our Lizards games. He'd be like, oh, man, you're nothing compared to Bill. I mean, well, if that's the scale we're going by, then I can get a few more shouts in before the end of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
But yeah, no, congratulations to, Coach Tierney, and we're rooting for the best for him this in his final season, except when he plays against Villanova. But other than that, we're rooting for the best for him. And with the theme of retirements, someone who I believe both of you guys have played with, Scott Ratliff, just announced that, he's retired. And, what a career he's had from winning a national championship at Loyola, a traditional not, blue blood program, getting them their first national championship. And, the stuff he's done for the game on a, community level, as well as his accomplishments have been fantastic.
Yeah, I think Scotty changed the game as far as how the LSM position is played. I mean, if you think about how many offensive, stick-skilled LSMs are out there right now, Scotty's responsible for that. Like, just his finesse, his offensive IQ, he usually cuts off ball, stays on a little longer. All that stuff, Scotty, man.
Yeah, when Rat came in from Loyola, he was known as a transitional threat. And I remember him coming in the league, and I'm like, who the hell is this asshole? Split dodging people with a long pole and dunking it. And he would score all the time. Him and Josh, remember on the Cannons team, him and Josh, Both were known as guys that could do that.
Oh yeah, him and Hawk.
Yeah, Hawk was awesome. What I'm impressed with a lot of things about Rat because I love that kid. I'm impressed with the way he goes about his business. I'm impressed with his competitive mentality. Yeah. He's actually very Brady-esque in the fact that he's a relatively soft-spoken, nice guy. And then when he puts his helmet on and flips the switch, man, he turns into a complete savage.
Oh, he's fucking nuts.
He doesn't stop talking the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I could do a clinic with him the day before and listen to music. And then the next day we're playing each other. And he's like, ha! Like you throw the ball at him and he's like, nice pass, loser. Yeah. And you're like, what? Scott?
He's fucking intense. Yeah.
No, dude. I mean, what I was really impressed with from a game standpoint is he got better every year he played professional lacrosse. He came in as this dynamic, transitional long pole who could play great on the wing and really make you pay if that ball squirts loose to a definitive defensive domino. Like, I mean, he was really, really good. He got better and better and better from a defensive standpoint all of his years in the pros. And man, you had to have – there's only a couple guys that I can say in my career as a face-off guy that I always had to know where you were on the wing as an LSM. Brody Merrill, Joel White, Bachlet, and Ratliff.
Yep.
And if you didn't know where he was and you popped the ball to the wrong spot, or he would try to bait you like a safety into popping the ball somewhere and then scoop it. If he got the ball in his stick, dude, it was over. It was a goal. I love him, man. And congratulations on an amazing career. He actually came and spoke at the National Showcase one year, a motivational speaker. And he did a phenomenal job with our athletes. So, yeah, man, I'm just good luck to everything he does from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. We're all excited to see what he does next, and hats off to an unbelievable career in college and in the pros. Absolute trailblazer for that LSM position, like you guys mentioned.
No doubt.
Lastly, we have some NLL updates for our NLL fans out there. We're happy to have Josh on this podcast today, and his Bandits are doing well. They just came off a win against the Georgia Swarm. The Rochester Nighthawks, though, have been crushing it. They're 5-0. Followed by the Bandits, the Rock, and the Thunderbirds. Well, the Swarm, I cheer on the Swarm because my buddy Camizio plays for them. But the Swarm and the Riptide are 0-4, unfortunately, and I know they're grinding. I'm trying to get to a Riptide game at some point this season out in Nassau. I'll have to make my way out there. But I love just seeing. Admittedly, I don't watch all the games if it's on and I'm doing nothing. I'll watch it. But I love seeing the Instagram highlights of guys like McCardle. He's having an unbelievable year, and he's segueing his success from the outdoor season into the indoor season. He's just absolutely drinking from the fountain of youth, just rejuvenating his career, and he's turning up on the field and in the box. That's awesome to see. And we talked about our guy Blaze. It's awesome seeing him burying a few out there. But I'm trying to get a little bit more into it. Like I said, I'm going to try to get to a Riptide game out in Nassau. Take the train out.
Yeah, I love watching NLL, man, and I love the fact that it's on ESPN. It's on the app, dude. If like you said, I love checking in to see if Jake Withers is playing with Halifax or Trevor's playing with the Wings. But there's, it's a great style of lacrosse, and it's fun, and it's hard hitting, and it's fast, and it's great. So yeah, it's awesome. If anybody who doesn't really watch box lacrosse that much, doesn't watch NLL, dude, if you like hockey and you like outdoor lacrosse, give it a try. It's on the ESPN 100%. App, man. It takes 2 seconds. Just check it out, dude. You'll love it.
And we had Josh, talking about how he's trying to start something for the youth up in Buffalo for, training these young kids that want to get into box. And it's absolutely exploding in the United States at the youth level. And it's really being taken advantage of as a way to train during the winter months. And you see it even in the pro level at this point. There's an influx of U.S. guys, and it's awesome to see the sport growing.
Yeah, when we grew up, I don't know, we never heard of indoor box lacrosse unless you went to a Wings game. And then you get drafted into the NLL, and then we would have to learn. We'd show up like idiots with our Cascade helmets, no rib pads, and we'd have to learn on the fly what the hell a slip pick is and why this guy's cross-checking me in the kidneys and getting open.
Or a moving pick, yes.
But but like it's lawless. Now you see Americans learning at a younger age. And it's fun because, lacrosse in the World Games, the outdoor version, used to be all USA. In fact, that was one of the boneheads that was arguing on Twitter was like, oh, yeah, well, USA won the first 6 in a row. And then they've only, it's like, yeah, moron. Like Canada's gotten better at outdoor lacrosse, dickhead. Same thing here. Americans are getting better at box. 100%. It's making it better all over the place. Like one day, if this type of thing happens because of the Josh Byrnes in the world, because of the Joe Walters, like all the guys that are teaching box in this league, it's becoming all these club programs, especially the elite ones. They're like, cool, fall ball's over. Now we're doing indoor training and we're playing box. College teams, Nick Myers has those dudes playing box all off season.
100%.
It's becoming normal for Americans, and you see it. Like Trevor was on here. Trevor was talking about how playing box lacrosse made him a way better lacrosse player.
Hell yeah.
And yeah. So, I mean, I just think that you're going to see this where Canada's come up and now it's always neck and neck in the World Games outdoor. It's only a matter of time before the Americans get good enough where they can start competing in the indoor World Championships.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, this has been a great episode. You guys got anything, before we wrap up?
Nah, man, I'm just going to crush this Olipop.
You love the Olipop.
Hell yeah.
Well, should we tease that? We got a big guest coming on the next 2 weeks.
We got a bunch of big guests coming on. I was just going to say, we have some action-packed. Yes, we have some action-packed episodes coming up right at the start of the college lacrosse season. Do you want to tease them, Scotty, or you want to leave it
nope.
For the imagination?
No, let's give it to the imagination.
We'll leave it for the imagination, but make sure you're tuning in for our next few episodes. Listen to this one. Subscribe on Spotify. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that TorchPro subscribe button to watch our ugly mugs. But fellas, great episode. I'm so pumped for this college season to start. Before that, or in the middle of the couple of weeks, we got the sixes. We have so much lacrosse being pumped down our throats. I'm excited, and we will break everything down for our fans. So, fellas, great week as always, and I hope you all have a good night.